with operations, and hopefully Chair Windmiller's internet connection will stay strong.
Let's hope.
And we are ready to begin. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'd like to call the Operations Committee meeting of the Bi-State Development Board Agency to order on Friday, October 13th, 2023 at 8:30 a.m. Myra, will you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Windmiller.
Present.
Commissioner Cox. Commissioner Galladay.
Here.
Commissioner Brown.
Here.
Commissioner Beach.
Here.
Commissioner Simmons.
Present.
Commissioner Johnson.
Present.
Commissioner Moore. And Commissioner Gladney. You can proceed.
Thank you. Were there any public comments to report on, Myra?
Yes, Chair, there were 5 public comments received for today's meeting, the majority of which pertain to Coloride. All of the comments were distributed to the board prior to the meeting, and all of the comments in their entirety will be incorporated into the online meeting materials and will be included in today's minutes.
Thank you. Moving on to approval of the minutes of the August 18th, 2023 Operations Committee open meeting. Are there any changes or additions to the minutes? Seeing none, I need a motion to approve.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you. Next item is the 2023 annual surplus property holdings. And I believe we have John Langa here to provide comments.
Yes, thank you. Good morning. This agenda item is for committee recommendation for the full board's consideration of its annual excess property report per board policy of properties no longer needed for bi-state purposes. There are 98 excess properties, included 6 added earlier this year at the airport, and those properties are listed in the briefing paper attachment and further summarized in your board book of excess properties. Of note, and this came in after briefing papers were due, and Brenda, if you could share the screen now, if that's possible, thank you. This excess property, approximately 3/10 of an acre, near our Sunnin Station, is as of late September under contract. It was declared excess in 2015. It sits just to the left of where it says South Big Bend, which is to the west of Big Bend and just to the north of our Metrolink alignment. And it's a gravel lot. The buyer's O'Hare Foundry, which is immediately to the north of the property, and they're under contract at appraised value. O'Hare has been in business over 40 years. They have 26 employees and they're set to close at the end of the calendar year. They've noted that they will likely use that area for storage, and Bi-State retains access through the property if we need to work on or repair the Metrolink retaining wall that you see along our alignment. In addition, we held back and are not selling a 40-foot wide strip that is adjacent to the Metrolink alignment and that we have access through. I'd be happy to answer any questions about this overall agenda item. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Are there any questions for John?
Sounds like a win-win.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I need a motion to approve the property holdings.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you. Next item is the BSD light rail vehicles, and I believe Tom Curran has some comments for us.
Yes, good morning, commissioners. This is a proposal to allow the president and CEO to enter into a contract with Siemens Mobility for the purchase of light rail vehicles. In September of 2022, Bi-State issued a solicitation for procurement of new Metrolink vehicles. The solicitation was created with support from Hatch Associates Consultants, which is the agency's firm of record for light rail vehicle professional engineering consulting services. The solicitation was advertised through our iSupplier portal. In response to the solicitation, only one proposal was received, and that was from Siemens Mobility. The technical proposal was reviewed by an evaluation committee composed of staff from Metro's Light Rail Vehicle Maintenance Department, plus external partners from Hatch Consultants. A formal oral presentation and interview was held with Siemens. The proposal was evaluated for technical requirements, design, team qualifications, aesthetics, and schedule. The new light rail vehicles will operate within our existing alignment and facilities infrastructure. Negotiations regarding Siemens' best and final offer are still ongoing, and the total price is dependent upon not only the new vehicle cost, but also the number of spare parts that Bi-State is requesting. Management is recommending that the Operations Committee recommend to the Board of Commissioners that the President and CEO be authorized to enter into a contract with Siemens Mobility for acquisition of new light rail vehicles. Funding will be provided through FTA grants. Dale Schaefer, Metro's Chief Mechanical Officer, is available to assist in answering any technical questions that you may have.
Thanks, Tom. Any questions for Tom? Seeing none, I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second. Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Aye. Any opposed? Great. Item number 7, the purchases of non-revenue vehicles. And again, we look to Tom Current for comments.
Thank you. This is a request for purchase of 13 non-revenue vehicles to support Metro operations. In July, Bi-State issued a sealed bid solicitation for these 13 vehicles, which include Freightliner trucks, heavy-duty pickup trucks, extended ladder cab, boom, and crane trucks. They're designed to be used to service our Metrolink alignment and transit facilities. The vehicles that these trucks will be replacing are at the end of their useful lives. In response to the public solicitation, only one bid was received from Broadway Ford. Metro has determined that Broadway Ford's proposal is responsive to the invitation for bid, and it will satisfy our operational needs. This project is supported by federal funds with a local match. Management recommends that the Operations Committee approve and forward to the Board of Commissioners this request to authorize the President and CEO to purchase 13 one-ton or greater non-revenue vehicles from Broadway Ford in a not to exceed amount of $1,512,090.50. And again, Dale Schaefer is available to answer any technical questions that you may have.
Thank you, Tom. Any questions on the non-revenue vehicles? Seeing none, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you. Next item on the agenda is the ticket vending machines. Tom, I believe you're up again.
Yes, thanks again. Management is requesting that the Operations Committee recommend authorizing the President and CEO to award a contract for purchase of 125 ticket vending machines for the Metrolink light rail system and Metro bus transfer centers. In August of 2023, Bi-State issued a solicitation to obtain new ticket vending machines as part of the agency's fare collection program project, which will transform our fare purchasing and validation systems. Prior to the issuance of the solicitation, Bi-State had conducted a request for information process in the spring, the results of which demonstrated a high level of interest from vendors for this project. Bi-State has received 6 proposals from TVM vendors, and those proposals are in the process of being reviewed and evaluated by a committee consisting of members from Bi-State's finance and administration departments. The request for proposals included over 900 technical requirements that must be reviewed for each vendor proposal. Evaluation committee members will continue scoring proposals this month, followed by a consensus meeting to determine the highest ranking firm. The acquisition, testing, and installation of the TVMs are critical to the Secure Platforms project because the machines will provide the fair media to open the planned security gates for Metrolink access. Media types will include QR code tickets, passes, and stored value smart cards, all of which will be available through the new TVMs. In addition to needing new TVMs for the SPP project, Bi-State's current TVMs are at the end of their service life. And due to technology and regulatory changes, our ticket vending machines must be replaced in order to meet current payment card industry security standards. So management is recommending the operations committee authorize the president and CEO to enter into a contract with the highest ranking firm for the purchase of 125 ticket vending machines, and that this item be placed on the agenda for the November 17th Board of Commissioners meeting for additional discussion and final approval following completion of the evaluation process. I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions for Tom? I just have one quick one, Tom. When this, if we approve at the operations committee, will there be additional information about the proposals at the board meeting?
Yes. So following the evaluation process, we'll be able to tell you who the bidders were. We'll be able to tell you the specifics in regard to price and the technical requirements that were met by the winning bidder. I'm just prohibited from doing that now since the negotiations and the evaluation are in process.
Great, thank you.
I have just one comment, if I could. Sure. Tom, is this on the similar program where we had a system before that failed as far as, you know, there was a lot of money spent? Is this on the same order? And if there is, what are we putting in place to make sure we don't make that kind of mistake again?
So the system that was referred to was the validation system, which is separate really from this. We're really talking about the ticket vending machines themselves. Okay. So it'll be the interaction between the Masabi system and the products that are produced by the ticket vending machines. But since this is inclusive of tickets, passes, and smart cards, the integration with Masabi, which has already been approved by the Board of Commissioners, is really where the necessary decisions come from in regard to making sure that everything works. So that integration process will take some time because of the number of ticket vending machines and the fact that they need to be designed for us. It's about a year lead time to get the TVMs. We're looking at varying times from the proposers, but it is not something that's going to happen quickly. And there'll be a lot of analysis and a lot of testing in between those two times. So it is a long-term project, but it is necessary for the SPP. We'll do everything that we can to make sure that we have no integration issues. We're working with Masabi already.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, is there a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item is any unscheduled business from Talby.
I have none, Commissioner.
Thank you. And an operations report from Chuck Stewart.
Good morning, Commissioners. You have in your packets your operations update for July and August 2023 and your workforce update for August. I would just like to highlight some of the items that are contained therein and give some additional information. From a ridership standpoint, the report that you currently have is just for the first 2 months of the fiscal year. Not a lot to report at this point. Our system ridership over the last couple of years, as you will recall, was increasing at about 6% a year. And we certainly anticipate that gradual increase will continue to take place as we move through this fiscal year. From a workforce standpoint, a couple of things. you know, we've been doing a lot of things in the last year or so in order to impact our staffing, our operators, especially our bus operators, Metrolink and Coloride. Things that we've put in place, as you know, have included the 5K sign-on bonus. We have enhanced training programs. We have a mentorship program. Everybody hear me okay? Okay. The mentorship program. We've had our hiring events. We even have a rehire program where we're reaching out to people that left us maybe as long as 3 years ago, maybe because of attendance issues or those kind of things, and we're trying to bring them back in, and they're really happy about coming back in some cases. And of course, we've had our contract with ATU Local 788 and the 401k program that was introduced, and the various performance initiatives, differentials that are part of that contract. Those things are starting to work. They're starting to work. We are seeing differences in our recruiting and our retention. We've done a manpower projection from now to the end of the year, and I'll just kind of talk about bus. In our August manpower report, we had 549 operators. We graduated an additional 21 operators last week. We have 13 currently in training. We start a new training class with additional 30 starting Monday. One of our biggest issues is that we're bringing them in, but we've got retention issues, the attrition. The attrition is starting to subside. Our average attrition for bus for the year has been close to like 12 per month. So if you got 14 coming in and 12 going out, it doesn't work. Well, for September, June, July, August, and September, June, we had 18 operators to leave. July, we had 8. August, we had 3. September, we had 5. So we're catching up on that side as well. And I think though that is mainly the new contract, I think. So, you know, so our numbers are starting to look better. We're predicting at least 570, 580 operators by the end of the year. We're budgeting 635. So we're catching up. This is not a sprint, it is a marathon. And we need to stay vigilant in our efforts to not only attract, but retain operators as we move forward. We're also looking at enhancing our programs in terms of attracting mechanics. You know, the system all fits together. It all fits together. We got to have the mechanics to have the buses so that the operators can drive them. So mechanics, we had a new mechanic start in October. We've made 2 offers, and we've got 8 interviews going on right now for mechanics, electromechanics. We got 2 in testing, and electricians, 2 scheduled for testing. So we're trying to bring the system back together, all together, because all aspects support each other. Speaking of that, we have a hiring event on this Saturday. Again, we have the $5,000 signing bonus, which was a limited time offer. We're extending that until the end of the year. And that is working. That is bringing people, that is bringing applicants. Again, we're emphasizing mechanics for the hiring event on Saturday, and it's going to be at our Illinois Metro Bus Garage, where we've had much success in the past in terms of people coming in to apply. Full stop, one-stop operation, interviews, screenings, offers. So we're looking forward to another successful hiring event. We've made over 240 same-day job offers to qualified individuals over the last 4 hiring events. So they are working for us as well. I'd like to announce that we have a service change coming up in November. This is an annual thing. We'll have our system pick in September. System pick is when the operators decide what facility they want to work in. And then after that, we have a run pick. That'll be the first part of November. That's when they decide the actual routes that they would like to work. And then in November, we'll have our service change. We're going to slightly increase the level of service on the streets in November, but not to the extent of expanding service. We're going to increase frequency, key routes and times of day. An example of that is the Gravois Lindo number 10. We're going to make scheduling adjustments to add run time where operators need more time to maintain the schedule. An example of that is the number 70 Grand. And we're going to make adjustments so that Missouri and Illinois improve runtime and schedule adherence with each other. So again, emphasizing we are not going to increase geographic coverage, span of service. In order to do that, we need all systems to be running smoothly together. We need to get call-a-ride to the point where there are no denials. That we have the manpower to expand call-a-ride service if we expand fixed route service. We need to get our bus service to the point where we are fulfilling 100% of our schedule. We have no missed trips on bus, and we have the additional manpower to increase frequency and that type of thing. So that's kind of where we're planning for November. MetroLink service will remain steady, and we're going to continue the single tracking where we need it in order to make repairs on the system, and the single car process, that pilot continues as well. As soon as we get that repairs done from the flood, get our operation back up and going at the Bolivar, then we'll go back to regular service with MetroLink. I know you've gone by there and you've seen that big yellow box that's sitting there. Well, that's the new stuff. We continue to work on that. Still have a few things we need a few parts that we need, and then we'll do testing and we'll get that back in operation. So that concludes my overview of workforce and operations. Be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Chuck. Any questions? I just have one. You mentioned how challenging it is once an offer has been made to a new employee, a new operator, for them to stay. Mm-hmm. Do we have an idea of why they're leaving so quickly after having started? It looks like 61% separated before the first bonus payment on bus operators, and 78% left on the van operators. Do we know why?
I think we know why. I think we know that we weren't touching them enough. We weren't providing continuous encouragement to them. That's one of the things we did when we improved our training processes. We made sure that we gave them a mentor. We started them in that process as soon as possible. It's hard. It's a lot to it, and it's a lot of responsibility that people take on very, very quickly. I went to a graduating class last week. There were 21 in the class. They look pretty happy about being here. I think we're attracting a different kind of operator as well. People that are eager to learn the job. I think with our new contract, we are bringing back the concept of a bus operator as being a noble profession. And that is what we are promoting within our management team. This is a noble profession. We are performing a service for this region, and you are a part of it. all of this kind of stems back to our strategic planning and our putting our workforce first, our staffing, letting people know that we care about them. We want them to succeed, and we're going to do whatever we can so that they will succeed.
Thank you for that explanation. Very happy to hear about that, and glad to hear about some extra mentoring and extra support for particularly brand new employees. Any other questions or comments?
I would just like to add that I would encourage our customers and clients that may be listening or watching, especially our critics, to help pass the word about our job fairs. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you, Commissioner. Saturday, 10 o'clock, Illinois Bus Garage. Bring your resume. We'll be ready to interview you, screen you, start the process of everything we need to get you moving, get you on board as soon as possible.
Thanks to you and your team. All right, next item is a President and CEO report.
Very good. Thank you, Commissioner. Good morning to everybody. So I have a bit of a longer report this morning, so I appreciate you bearing with me, but I think there's some important updates within this report. So as you all know, it has been quite a week. We have been defending ourselves now since October the 2nd from a significant cyber attack. Commissioners, one thing that I want to highlight is an IT staff and communication staff that have essentially worked all the way nonstop every single day since the 2nd. I have compelling information on individual IT staff who have in a 7-day period logged in excess of 100 hours. So simply do the math. These are dedicated professionals who are doing everything they can to be sure that our fundamental service is out there. And so I'm very grateful for that team, and also very, very grateful for the operations team in picking up the slack wherever they could to try to be sure that essentially we are still moving St. Louis. And maybe that's part of the good news part of this, as even through this extraordinary attack, in an effort to extort money from the public, we were still able to run essentially 98% of our service. While I'm disappointed in the 2% and think that we need to do everything we can and relook at are there ways that we can strengthen our defenses, we will, of course, be doing that, and we do ask for the public's patience. Remember, when we do have these effects, unfortunately, the price is paid by the neediest in our community. And that was the case, for instance, with the paratransit community, who through a Saturday and Sunday, we were only able to run limited service. We did everything we could to communicate with that community. In fact, I asked Chuck Stewart to call our partners in the paratransit community to be sure that we were doing everything we could to communicate the problems associated with our service. I was bolstered by the fact that those calls were well received. They knew that we were trying and working. I think when we get those requests from our friends in the disabled community to be sure that we are leaning in and doing everything we can to communicate with them, these are the aspects that we need to bolster and work on. So even in the fact of a very difficult situation, I think we need to look at ourselves honestly and see where we can improve. Also, with reaching out to our employees, I asked specifically in dealing with the cyber attack, Trinice Winters was able to communicate specifically with our partners in 788 about what they were seeing and how are our members concerned about the aspects of the cyber attack. And it kind of reminds me of what Chuck Stewart talked about, and under his leadership and the support of folks like Trinice Winters. Chuck did the extraordinary events of going out and having more listening sessions with our fundamental workforce. So Commissioner Windmiller's question is very apt about how are we supporting and being sure that we are creating a workforce that understands our sense of community and our sense of duty, that these are careers that serve the community. That's a different aspect in working on essentially BSD's culture. And Mr. Stewart or Ms. Winters will not toot their own horn, but that is the difference that they are making. This is about conversations, of course, supported by this Board of Commissioners who voted unanimously for that 3-year contract with our partners at 788. All of those aspects as far as improving the lives of our regular employees is what will make a difference. It is a long and hard fight, but we need to be sure that we are doing all of those aspects. And I want to thank the commissioners for that, because every little move makes a difference. So in retrospect, associated with our cyber attack, I want to announce to the Board of Commissioners that I will be asking Crystal Messner to head and convene an internal review cyber committee that we will start with next week. The idea being that we want to see what are the resources that we can bring to bear to support our IT team. Are there some things that we did not see when we were going through this essentially battle on a cybersecurity attack? How are there aspects that we can improve? I will certainly say that there were some aspects that I would like to recognize in communications. Look, we were doing our best, but I think we could do a little better with how those emergency communications went out. I want to be sure that we're able to talk to our impacted customers and keep our Board of Commissioners very much informed as we're moving through these difficulties. Because sadly, these attacks will continue. This is the new world that we are in, and our cyber consultants have told us that this is something that we need to prepare for and be extremely vigilant and look at every aspect of our defense. And this is now what we are going to be moving through in the future. So our Chief Audit Executive, Crystal Messner, will head that group in an idea of improving and also creating some arm's length between, obviously, my operating team and a Chief Audit Executive who has some expertise in this area, and I'm very much looking forward to looking at that rigorously. The single car pilot continues. I will tell you that single car pilot is not a static event. For instance, we will get updated emails from individuals who will say, hey, I just saw an email from an individual on a train that alighted at 4 o'clock at the Central West End station that was really quite full. So Chuck's team it will review that, see when that train came in, look at the automatic passenger counts, and see if perhaps it was too full. Okay, so I think that the pilot has been successful and a good thing to look at, but we shouldn't think of it as a static event, that there may be some adjustments that go within as we move forward on something like that. I want to again just reiterate the hiring event from 10 to 2 in beautiful East St. Louis at our bus garage. I know that Trinice Winters will be there. All of our staff will be there coaching and talking to potential new employees. It actually is a really kind of fun event. There is a lot of energy there. I encourage you to go by. I know that Chair Simmons has gone by and seen the activity at that hiring event in the past. It really is kind of a neat aspect and a really neat opportunity to see our operations and our team at work. And that concludes my remarks this morning. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Talby. Any questions or comments for Talby?
Yes, Toby, on the single car trial that we're doing, before there's any changes made either way, will we be updated on that?
Yeah, so at the conclusion of the October pilot, I am going to put together both where a load analysis shows us to be with the automatic passenger counters that can show where we exceeded capacity, and we can also look at some of the customer complaints. We have had some. Folks don't like change. That's not unusual in our circumstance. So we will log those as well. So we'll take a look at both of those, and I'm happy to put kind of a more formal report together for you, Commissioner. I think that makes sense. We would normally do that internally, but I'm happy to share that with the Commission.
Yeah, and I'd also like to see included in that some type of report from our security personnel on what their thoughts are on that pilot program.
Very good point.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, we can move on to item number 12, which is a call for future meeting dates.
Yes, Chair, the next Board of Commissioners meeting will be held on Friday, November 17th at 8:30, and that will be the last scheduled meeting for the year.
Thank you. There are no items for the executive session today. Is that correct, Toby?
Yes, it is.
Well, there's no further business. Do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you all. And I think there'll be a brief
Okay to start again. Thank you.
Thank you. I will call the meeting of the Audit, Finance, and Administration Committee meeting to order. Myra Bennett, will you please call roll?
Commissioner Beach,
Present.
Commissioner Simmons,
Present.
Commissioner Johnson,
Present.
Commissioner Moore,
Present.
Commissioner Gladney,
Present.
Commissioner Windmiller,
present.
Commissioner Galladay,
Here.
Commissioner Brown,
Here.
Commissioner Cox. You can proceed.
Were there any public comments, Ms. Bennett?
We did not receive any comments for today's meeting.
Thank you. Moving right along, the minutes of the August 23rd AFA Committee open meeting session were included in your packet. I need a motion to approve if there were no changes or comments.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Anyone opposed or abstaining? Thank you. Items 5, 6, and 7, the Internal Audit Department follow-up summary first quarter, the Internal Audit Department status report for the first quarter, and the Internal Audit Department State Safety Oversight status report third quarter of fiscal year 23. Crystal Mesner, will you please handle all three items?
Yes, good morning, Commissioners. For our agenda item related to internal audit follow-ups for the first quarter of fiscal year 24, I just want to note that the follow-ups are on target. Internal audit has continued to collaborate with management and staff to successfully correct 35% of the internal control deficiencies found during audits. So I'd like to thank management and staff for helping with those. For the next agenda item, for informational purposes, is the internal audit status report for the first quarter of fiscal year 24. The audit projects are moving along as expected, with the introduction, of course, some special projects that have arisen. Several audits are in the final phases of audit work and are anticipated to be completed during the second quarter that we're currently in. For the next agenda item for the State Safety Oversight Status Report for the third quarter, because those are done in calendar years for 2023, those proposed activities for last quarter were accomplished successfully. We had the opportunity to continue to collaborate with Metro management and staff, resulting in successful correction and closure of 12 more internal safety deficiencies. In addition, internal audit, safety, and Metro loop trolley staff participated and collaborated with the MoDOT State Safety Oversight Team to accomplish their required triennial oversight audit. Internal audit would most certainly like to thank Metro management and staff, especially Ms. Cynthia Scott and Mr. Martin Goley, for their active participation and contributions to Metro and loop trolley safety. It's very important, and I want to recognize them for their contributions. So these three items that I just spoke on were just presented for informational purposes, and I'm available for any questions that you may all have.
Any questions for Crystal? Thank you. Moving along.
Commissioner Beach, I think we skipped number 5.
Okay. I mentioned 5, 6, and 7. Go ahead, please. Crystal, do you have anything else?
Yeah, it's so number 5 was Mary Lane's going to present on that for the
no, that's been moved to executive session.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Oh, you're fine. Tammy, you're up for items 8 and 9, financial statements and treasurer's report.
Thank you. Good morning, commissioners. This morning, I'm sharing the results for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2023. And I want to start out by saying these numbers have more than just a financial meaning. These numbers are the result of an engaged team facing various challenges, big and small, using creativity every day to find new ways to earn revenue and reduce expenses. And I just want to start out by saying thank you to the entire team for all their hard work throughout this fiscal year. So the results for transit, we ended the year at $239 million before depreciation. And as mentioned in past meetings, this is primarily due to us bringing in our COVID relief funds, so $150 million in ARPA funds, $64 million in CARISA funds, and then also due to the fact that we've had worker shortages and we're below budget by about $28.6 million. When you look at executive services, you'll see that we have income of $1.4 million. And this is primarily due to reduction in budget expense for consultant services and some shortages in budgeted staffing. For the arts, results show income of approximately $3 million. Revenue for the year is $2.6 million more than budget, and expenses were under budget for labor and benefits, parts, and other services. So what we've seen is a ridership increase of about 33% over the prior year. For riverboats, we have income of $1.3 million before depreciation. So this is due to revenue coming in about $900,000 more than budget, and our overall expenses being down by about $300,000, primarily due to wages and benefits. They've added about 50 cruises since the prior year. For the airport, we had income before depreciation of approximately $200,000, and this is the result of improved interest income and leased acreage revenues. And then for Freightway, we had a loss of approximately $100,000. Moving on to cash and investments at June 30th, by state directed funds, we had $509 million with an average rate of return of 4.7%. Our trustee directed funds also had an average return of 4.7%, and we're at about $55 million. And just to give a brief update on the fuel hedge, through June 30th, we had realized gains of $7.2 million. And this is primarily the result of right-sizing the number of contracts to align with our actual needs. So for this year, this resulted in a fuel cost of $1.01 per gallon compared to a budgeted cost of $1.55, an actual cost of $3.21. We know in 24 we will see some higher expense related to fuel, and we are closely monitoring that. And that's my report this morning, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Thank you, very thorough. Any questions for Tammy? Thank you. Moving along, item 10. Crystal, we're back to you. The Treasury Safekeeping Report ending June 30th.
Thank you again, Commissioner. So I just wanted to note that internal audit determined that the Treasury safekeeping accounts exist and the respective balances, credit ratings, and fuel hedging is stated fairly as according to the Treasury report ending June 30th, 2023 that Ms. Tammy Fulbright just presented. Collateral posted by PNC Bank in conjunction with FDIC insurance is sufficient to adequately collateralize BSD deposits at the PNC Bank. And of course, this is presented for informational purposes, and I'm available for any questions that you may have.
Any questions on that item? Thank you, Krista. Moving along, item 11, Tom Curran, procurement report, please.
Thank you. The procurement report has three components this month. The first is the non-competitive procurement trend for the first quarter of fiscal year 2024. Non-competitive procurements for the quarter totaled approximately $7.6 million, or 17.9% of the total purchase order volume of $42.3 million. This is an increase from the fourth quarter of fiscal year 23, when non-competitive spending was only 8.4% of the total, which is unusually low. But the rolling 12-month average of non-competitive procurements is still down compared to the last quarter due to the very high amount of non-competitive spending in the first quarter of fiscal year 23. The second report is a list of all the contracts over $100,000 for the first quarter of the fiscal year. The largest of these was for package one of the Secure Platforms project with Millstone Weber LLC for $6.5 million. The second largest contract was $5.5 million with TGB Inc. That was for upgrades to our public address and closed circuit TV security system for Metrolink. Followed by the third place was $4.6 million for Bridgestone Americas for tires for our fleets. The final procurement report is the contract modifications for the first quarter of fiscal year 24. The modifications involved exercising option years on existing contracts, service addition to current projects, and some time extensions. And I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Commissioners, any questions for Tom on his procurement report? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving along, Dave. Tobin, you're up. A pension plan annual audit update, please.
Good morning, Commissioners. I am presenting item 12, pension plan audit update for your information only. Annually, we engage with an outside accounting firm to audit our three defined benefit pension plans based upon their separate plan years. That outside audit firm is UHY LLC. Those detailed audit reports are attached to the briefing paper for your information as well. The ATU and IBW pension audit reports and financial statements are for plan year ended March 31st, 2023, and for the salary plan for year ended May 31st, 2023. I am really pleased to report that all three plans received an unmodified or clean opinion with no notable variances or concerns identified. We're also in the process with UHY finishing up a like audit of our 401k defined contribution plan and expect to present its findings in the January 2024 cycle of committee meetings. With that, I will go ahead and entertain any questions that you may have.
Any questions? Even those for information, I would just want to add that I have a very close friend at UHY, but she does not do audits. She's a tax CPA. Tawby, unscheduled business plus your report. You're up.
No unscheduled business, but Commissioner, if you will, I am compelled to report as my excellent staff has just reported in this. Commissioners, there's a lot of good numbers in this committee meeting. Extraordinarily good numbers on riverboats. I would simply have to commend the staff on how well the riverboats have operated in a very challenging environment, reducing staff, reducing expenses, and moving cruises up. I think that's evidenced in the numbers with increases both riverboats, also Arch. Metro Transit continues to do well in a very challenging environment. As you note, Executive Services, we're very proud of being sure to keep a lid on all of these expenses. That's how we make things work in this operation. And I also want to congratulate Dave Tobin on the clean opinion in the pension environment. I'm very proud of the professional approach of the staff that you see in front of you. And these are really fine individuals. I'm very proud to lead them. and happy that we are able to go through these audit reports in such a good way. Thank you.
We agree. Kudos. Myra, future dates, meeting dates?
As noted at the last meeting, the next Board of Commissioners meeting will be held on Friday, November 17th at 8:30 a.m., and that will be the last scheduled meeting for the year.
Thank you. At this time, I will need a motion that the committee go into executive session for the purpose of discussing legal, confidential, or privileged matters as permitted under Bi-State Development Board Policy, Chapter 10, Section 10.080 D1 Legal, D10 Auditors, and D12 Computers. Is there a motion, please?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to go in executive session. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner Winmiller,
Aye.
Commissioner Moore, Commissioner Galladay,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson,
Aye.
Commissioner Beach,
Yes.
Commissioner Gladney,
Aye.
Commissioner Simmons.
Yes.
The motion passed.
Thank you.